Man, I'm just learning a lot, about pausing and being still. We've been taught for so long, millennials or maybe some millennials out there haven't been taught this, but we've been taught to, especially men, to like keep pushing, keep pushing. I had this strong idea that whatever you face in life, just roll with the punches. And to some degree, it's true.
Right.
However, I had a therapy session last week. Man, I didn't realize how important pausing, in your life was, because I've been taught to, just go through the storm.
Yeah.
And it started like this. Because how she usually start off is like, what's on your mind? The therapy session. Like, where do y'all want to start? Where y'all want to go, or whatever. We was like, yeah, everything's good, such and such. We was just really trying to think. And then my wife was like, yeah, we had a few disagreements last weekend. I was like,
we did.
And I was like, oh, we sure did. And then she brought up the situations, and I didn't know that, it affected my wife in a way. And not only the situation, but my responses, Again, bear with me, the story, with the story. Because I've been taught roll with the punches. I didn't realize that I was short with her, and I'm like, is that okay? Let's get past this and keep moving. That type of thing. And I was wondering why at the beginning of that week I was so stressed. Well, come to find out, once we got into talking about this in therapy, I said, yo, I didn't realize I've been through so much last week. Yo, I got hit with bad news like like more than a third of the whole week.
Really?
Yeah, the week before. And I never dealt with it. I just kept rolling with the punches. You know what I mean? Like, and so when we get to the following week in the therapy session, I paused and I'm like, we did have a few disagreements, but so now I'm doing this self-reflection. I'm like, why did we have so many disagreements back out the back? And I realized, I'm like, oh man, like I never dealt with this emotion. I never dealt with that emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, as men, we're taught to roll with the punches, keep going. So,
but ain't that healthy though?
What's that?
To like keep going and like roll with the punches, like
it is. If you deal with your emotions, if you face them, if you manage it, but not like live it and complain. Me and Brandon was talking last night. Not you owning your emotions, not letting it own you. Sometimes we can roll with the punches, but there's an underlying issue that we haven't dealt with, causes us to react or respond a certain way. And I think I was doing that. So it was a series of events that I have not had a moment to actually pause. So man, I'm in the session, man, she was like, and when she do that, like when LaTanya do that, it just makes me feel like, oh, she understands it. Like she was like, oh no, and she and she be so genuine when I was like, oh man, that feels good to know that, I'm expected to be human, So, but
I wonder how much other stuff we deal with that we're reacting to essentially, that we don't even realize that it's out of just trying to get through it.
Yeah, brother, that's probably me. Actually, man, it's probably a lot of us, bro. Like, but what
I didn't even think about it. I just didn't think about it. Like,
yeah, but that one little piece, and then she went into this thing, man, where I really want to get her on to talk about this, but she was talking about stress, and she was saying that when you're stressed, it releases cortisol. What is that? What that chemical? And she was like, it puts you in fight or flight response. And I was like, dang, so I was in fight or flight the whole time? You feel me? And she was like, yeah. She was like, when you are in fight and flight and not centered, that's what we was talking about earlier, when you're not centered, you're not your best self. She was like, because you don't have, she explained it as to, you know how your phone go on to power saving mode, and it shuts off everything it don't need, and it becomes damn just to stay alive. That's what fight or flight mode is.
That's a good example. That's a good little analogy right there.
Yeah, it put that survival mode though.
Yeah,
and that's what she said, that you're trying to survive, you know. And I thought about, you know, our community, you know, the black community, and a lot of people in it are just for real in survival mode, you know, because of the stress and not managing it well. Either we turn to substance, or my case, just keep moving, you know what I mean, being hopeful, but we're not really dealing with, you know, ourselves, because we're not pausing, we're not taking a break. And she said that when you're under the stress, what happened is that you don't have access to creativity.
right.
You don't have access to problem solving skills. Like, you just don't have access to those things. You're not.
But how did you know though? How did you know that like you were on power saving mode?
She called it, let's watch the replay. Because we like sports analogy.
Yeah.
Let's watch the replay. Let's learn from it.
Still that.
Let's watch film. That's what she called it. Let's just watch film. Let's go back and let's tell, because you can't. So when you're in that emotional state, it's hard to watch it. But when you're good and, you know, you're pretty balanced, it's always good to go back and watch. All right, what could I have done differently? What state was I in? You know, that way you know how to maneuver when that situation comes up again. See, that's the beauty of just pausing and just being centered and self-reflecting. You can look at those things that you've been through and kind of pivot. Journal, you know what I mean? Write the things you did wrong. In our case, be more to do more. Write the things you did right. What am I doing right? Journal. You know what I mean? Like, and then that way, when that situation comes up again, now you have the tools that you can have access to be better. So